Welcome to the Alpha Training and Consulting's online training program. Today we're going to answer the question, what is special cause variation versus normal cause variation? Please keep us in mind should you ever need help with preparing for ASQ certifications. We've been preparing students for ASQ certifications for over 20 years and we've become very good at it. So please keep us in mind should that need ever arise. All right, back to the question. What is the difference between special cause and normal cause variation? Well, first of all, normal cause variation is very predictable. Special cause variation is not predictable at all. And one thing you have to keep in mind, in order to do math, use mathematics and statistics to improve our processes, you can't use math and statistics unless the phenomena you're studying is predictable and measurable. Key word here on today's lecture is it predictable. So special cause is not predictable, normal cause is predictable. So when we're trying to create quality in a process, improve quality in a process, we need to get rid of special causes first because they're unpredictable, so we need to get rid of them. So that the only thing left over is the predictable kind of variation, so we can use math. And that's normal variation, again, is predictable. Normal variation is a byproduct of the design. Okay, so you can't improve or reduce normal cause variation unless you change the design. This is the problem. I can walk by a machine, I can look at it, and I can't see with my eyes what's causing the variation. So what do I have to do? I have to run experiments and I have to use math. And maybe what I find when I do the analytics on it is there's an I-beam in there and it's currently 2 inches. I need to change that to 4 inches, and if I do, 80% of the variation will go away. The point is I had to change the design, and I had to do math to know what in the design was causing the variation. And as a result, I cannot do that analytics. I cannot run those experiments. I cannot do the math to determine that I need a 4-inch I-beam or whatever it is, unless the phenomena coming out of that process is very predictable. Very predictable. And that's why it's important to make our process predictable. What do we call it when we make our processes predictable? We say the process is in control, which tells us the only kind of variation in this process is normal variation. So hopefully that's helpful. I know this can be rather confusing. Now, let me explain what happens when you try to adjust normal cause variation out of the process. Remember, to reduce normal cause variation, you have to change the design, not adjust the process. However, special cause variation, you can adjust those special cause variation out of the process. That's why we know the two even exist in reality, because one you can adjust out, one you can't adjust out. Again, normal cause you have to design out. Special cause you can adjust out. You just adjust the machine, and nature is okay with it. If you try to adjust normal cause variation out, the universe rebels, if you will. Let me give you an example. Let's say you hire a new employee, and this employee, you don't know it, but quality is like their identity. And where did that come from? Well, when this kid was growing up, this kid was a little rambunctious, so the parents would say, you know, go outside and rake the leaves. Okay, if you've been a parent, you know that happens sometimes. Let's get him out of the house, keep him busy for a minute, give us a break. So the kid goes out, starts raking the leaves. Parents don't expect a whole lot of good to come from it, but keep him busy. Figure he'll go out there, play in the leaves, chase the dog around a bit. But instead, this kid rakes the leaves and does a great job of it, and gets them all in piles and just looks like a professional did it. The little guy goes back in, tells his parents, okay, it's finished. The parents look out the window and boom, wow, unbelievable. This kid does amazing work. You do high quality work. And so the kid liked the response he gets from it. So from then on, the kid always does quality work. It just becomes his identity. And so you hire this kid, and he comes to work. He's going to run one of your machines in the factory. And he says, by the way, what does quality mean to you? And we say, hey, just so you know, our target value is 5. We'd like to hit 5 every time. That's what quality means to us. And he says, well, you hired the right guy. You're going to get 5 every time. So the kid goes out there and runs the machine, collects the first sample, measures it. Sure enough, 5. And he thinks, oh, this isn't so hard. And the next point he gets is a 6. Oh, no. But it's due to normal cause variation. It's just the design of the process. He has no control over it. He doesn't know where it's coming from either. But he doesn't know the difference. So when he gets 6, what does he want to do? He wants to adjust it back to 5. And he does adjust it back to 5. But the next time, he's equally likely to get on this side of the distribution due to normal variation a 4. And let's say the next one would be 4. But since he adjusted it out by 1, it's not 4, it's 3. Now what's the operator going to want to do? Adjust it all the way back. And then it just goes crazy. The universe rebels. That's what happens when you try to adjust normal cause variation out of the machine. Remember, the only way you can get normal variation out of the process is redesign it. And this is very important that you remember this. Now, if it's a special cause, you can adjust it out and the machine's just fine with it. No problem. Okay? Only when you try to adjust normal cause out. So let's read over this real quick. Target value's 5, actual 6. Operator adjusts process to target. Because it is normal variation, the next point is equally likely to be 4, but since you adjusted it, it will be 3. However, because the operator adjusted the process back 1 unit, the new value will be 3 instead of 4. Now the operator wants to adjust even further back to target. And what's the lesson to be learned here? You cannot not adjust normal variability out of a process. If you try to adjust normal variability out of a process, nature will rebel. If you want to reduce normal or predictable variability, also called random variability, by the way, then you must redesign the process. You can adjust special cause variation out of the process. You can't adjust normal cause. And that's why we use SPC, by the way. It tells us when special causes are present. Okay? And if you have a chart that says, hey, tells the operator, hey, this is special cause variation, they can adjust it out. And it says, no, this is just normal cause. Okay, don't touch the machine. I've learned my lesson. Okay? That's how it works. And so we have tools out there to help you determine when special cause and normal cause variation are present. But when we create quality, we have to get normal or special cause variation out first. Why? Because it's unpredictable. You can't do math when it's present. And what do we have to do to reduce variation? We have to redesign the machine, which takes a lot of math. Can't do math with special causes. That's why you have to get special causes out first to make it predictable, to get it in control. Why do we want to reduce variation anyway? Well, here's an example. Here's our upper spec limit, lower spec limit. And we have this variation in our process, way too big. All this stuff is scrap. We're 1 sigma out on spec limits, and they're not going to change the spec limits. But if we can do some math and figure out what's causing that variation, remember going from a 2-inch I-beam to a 4-inch or whatever it was, oh, that reduces variation. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Now, instead of having 1 sigma between the average and the spec limits, it's 6 because I've reduced the width of this curve so low. And look, no scrap, hardly any scrap at all. That's why we want to reduce variation. But it's a highly analytical process, and your process must be under control. In other words, the only kind of variation present is normal cause, very predictable. Get rid of special cause. Okay, here's a practical example. This is a paint booth, and I actually did this project. We did the analysis, and during their current process, there's a 1% chance we'd violate lower spec limit on paint thickness. And I asked them, are you okay with 1%? Because we were supposed to save money. Okay, so they said, yeah, we're okay with the 1% risk. Okay, so we went back and we redesigned the paint booth, and we reduced the variation of the process. So here's the new process in red here, much lower, and look at the average paint thickness. What did have to be out here to get a 1% risk? Now we can drop it down to this and maintain our 1% risk. And this change in average paint thickness saved the company millions of dollars a year in raw materials. You like to save money in raw materials because that comes right off the bottom line and everyone's happy with it, including the financial people, which is very important. Okay, so this is why we want to reduce standard deviation. And the whole point here is, remember, we want to get our processes to where the only variability coming out is normal cause variation. Why? So we can do math on it. It's predictable. And once it's predictable, we can do math and we can learn how to reduce sigma and thus save our company money and create higher quality in many cases. All right. So normal variability, very predictable, comes from the machine. Let's do a special cause variability example. An example of special cause variability. Suppose you ordered a part and it was generally, on average, delivered in 5 days. And 99.73% of the time, it was delivered between 2 and 8 days. Okay, that's just normal variation. And so it's very predictable, and that's why companies publish it. This is usually when you're going to receive your package, 2 to 8 days. That's normal cause variation. But on one delivery, it was delivered in 10 days. Oh no, it's outside the norm, outside normal variability. Oh really? Must be special cause variability. Yes, special cause variability is also called assignable cause variability because we usually know what took place. So here we go again. On one delivery, it's 10 days, so you perform an investigation to determine why this was an outlier, outside the norm, special cause. What you find is that the delivery truck crashed and destroyed your part, and they had to rebuild it. Since you understand the cause of the variability, the crashed truck, it is said to be an assignable cause variability, often referred to as special cause variability, but it's not really predictable. So normal cause, very predictable. Special cause, not predictable, but can be adjusted out. Has to be designed out, remember. So in summary, here we have it. A process that is predictable is said to be in control. In control means predictable. Math can be used to help us improve the process. Must be designed out, not adjusted out. A process that is unpredictable is said to be out of control. Out of control, not predictable. Math is not useful. Can be adjusted out. Without math, I can't figure out what I need to do to reduce variation. Which one causes you the biggest problems? Most people say, well, the biggest problem, operator making a mistake. Special cause variation is the biggest problem. Well, I've done many studies, and I would suggest that 90% of your problems as a company come from normal cause variation. And you blame that on the operators, even though the operators have no control over the design of the process. In other words, they're scapegoats, what they end up being. If you're held responsible for something, but you don't have the authority to change it, that's a scapegoat. So you want to be careful and make sure you don't do that. And you need to do an analysis to see what part of this variation is special cause, what portion is special cause. Then get rid of the special causes, and then you can only have normal cause. You can use math, and you can reduce variation to make your processes better. SPC is used to determine when special causes are present, and that'll be our next lecture, so that'll give you something to look forward to. Remember, if you ever have need for ASQ certification preparation classes, keep us in mind. Thank you, and have a great day. Goodbye.